What up? Hope y'all are doing well. It's Easter, man. So happy Easter to all of y'all. And my topic today actually has to tie into Easter. So yeah, let's get ready to get into the video. I'll talk to y'all in a second. So yeah, let's get into it. Camera didn't cut off. My bad. Let's get into it.
That's my baby daddy.
Yeah. Got bitches up in VA.
Yo, man. So it's Easter. And earlier this week, I think I might have talked about it in the video. I had to help my grandparents out. My grandparents were teaching the married couple Sunday school class at my church. And in their message for today, they compared the resurrection to the resurrection of marriages. And it was interesting because I feel like that idea of resurrection and being back from the dead can be applied to anything, right? Can be applied to anything in our lives when it comes to dreams or relationships or anything. I feel like everything, sometimes when we see something die, we absolutely feel like it's over with, it's dead. That's not necessarily the case, right? And the reason I want to compare this, and you don't have to be a Christian to accept or understand this concept, but anything in our lives can be resurrected. Anything in our lives can come back from the dead. But the thing is, sometimes it's not going to come back in the same way. When Jesus got up from the grave, he wasn't the Jesus that he was when he went in. You feel what I'm saying? When Jesus got up, he wasn't the same. And sometimes when things die off, when things die, and they're coming back from the dead, they're not going to be the same. They're going to have transformed. You know what I'm saying? In a way, I'll compare it. You can compare those stories, right? So anything can come back from the dead, and I sometimes we think because something is in the grave, there's no chance of it coming back, and that's not necessarily true. You know what I'm saying? And people in the Bible didn't think Jesus was coming back. They thought it was over with. You know what I'm saying? That was the end of the story. That was it. And they didn't know. And what's crazy is when Jesus came back and he was walking around, people didn't recognize him because he wasn't the same as when he went in the ground, right? Oftentimes when things come back from the dead, they can't be the same as when they went into the ground. They went into the ground for a reason, right? Those things died for a reason. But if they're coming back from the dead, then that means that there's something that had to happen while they were in the grave. Something had to change. Something had to adapt because they're going to come new. And sometimes it's going to be unrecognizable to people. It's not going to be understood by people. It's not going to be accepted. People are not going to believe that it's going to happen. And so it's a concept that I think it just applies to more than just, seeing my grandparents talk about that. It made me think about how that story can apply to so many different things in our lives. Anything can be resurrected. You know what I'm saying? Anything can come back from the dead. It just might not be the same as, it just might not be the same condition that it was before it died, right? Things might change. It has to adapt. But things can be resurrected. Things can come back from the dead. But if you're going to have that opportunity for it to come back from the dead, it can't come back the same. Because then you waste that grave experience. And people don't understand death is a hard thing to deal with, right? Death is a very hard thing to deal with. But if you deal with it the right way, I think when you come back from the dead, you can change a lot. It changes a lot, right? And I think that's important to just kind of recognize. Oftentimes I think we throw the dirt on the graves too soon when it's not necessarily ready for it. Sometimes it had to die in order for it to live again. You know what I'm saying? And that applies to anything. I don't want, that applies to our relationships. That applies to, you can apply to relationships and marriages like my grandparents were talking about. It can apply to our dreams. You know what I'm saying? My dream has always been to create. And in one sense, initially it was to be a songwriter, to do music. And when that died, my creativity was still back from the dead. My original goal of creating came back from the dead, and it was closed at that point. It came back as fashion, and it's closed. So our dreams, all of that, like everything has the potential to die, and sometimes things have to die in order for us to live and be what we are destined to be, right? And I think that's important for us to recognize, to understand, and to be willing to be a part of. Not a lot of people are willing to be a part of that. So, yeah. And I just thought about that, the idea of things can be resurrected, and I think oftentimes maybe we want to leave stuff in the grave, and it's because we think it is going to come back the same, but that's not necessarily what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Jesus was unrecognizable when he was coming out the tomb. And they could see elements of what Jesus was, but he had evolved, he had grown into something bigger, something better. And I think as long as you're coming back from the dead, or that thing is coming back from the dead, and it's revived almost to a point where it's unrecognizable in such a better way, that's important. So yeah, that's my video for today, man. I don't have a lot. And that applies to all aspects of our life. And I think that was a good video. Love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I don't know what time I'm gonna post tomorrow, but I'll see y'all tomorrow. I love y'all. Happy Easter once again. I'm gonna get to bed because got a big day tomorrow. Talk to y'all later.